I like to think about movies and television shows as friendly windows into many different worlds, and when I remember my first time watching a film on a small screen, I felt both curious and calm, as if I was visiting a new place while sitting safely at home. Over time, I learned that stories on the screen can teach gentle lessons, share simple joys, and sometimes help us understand people better. When I watch a quiet drama, I often notice small details, like a soft smile or a slow walk, and these little moments stay in my mind longer than loud scenes. A good story does not always need fast action. Sometimes it only needs honest feelings and clear voices. I enjoy listening to characters speak slowly, because their words feel closer to real life, and I can follow their thoughts with ease. Many people enjoy movies for different reasons, and that is what makes this world so interesting. Some viewers love exciting adventures, while others prefer peaceful stories about families, friends, or dreams. I often move between these styles, depending on my mood and the time of day. In the evening, I might choose a warm romantic story, and in the afternoon, I might watch a light comedy that makes me smile. Both choices bring comfort in their own ways. Television shows also have a special place in daily life. They stay with us for many days or even months, and the characters slowly become like gentle companions. When I finish one episode, I often feel curious about what will happen next, yet I also enjoy thinking about what I just saw. Some series teach us about courage, patience, and kindness, even when the story seems simple on the surface. I like shows that take their time, because they allow the audience to grow with the people on the screen. In these moments, I feel as if I am walking beside the characters, sharing their small victories and quiet worries. I remember one series about a small town, where everyone knew each other, and life moved slowly. There were no big secrets, only daily conversations, short walks, and gentle music in the background. That show helped me relax after busy days. I could hear the sound of wind, the soft footsteps, and the calm voices. It felt like resting in a peaceful place. Movies can also create that feeling, even when the story is short. A simple film about friendship can leave a long impression. I once watched a movie where two strangers met on a train and talked about their lives. They did not change the world, yet they changed each other in small ways. That was enough to make the story meaningful. Many people think movies must always be exciting, but I believe quiet stories can be just as powerful. They remind us that real life is often gentle, slow, and full of simple moments. Comedy films and shows also play an important role. Laughter is like a soft light in our day. When I watch a funny scene, my body feels lighter, and my thoughts become easier. Some jokes are loud and playful, while others are quiet and clever. I enjoy both kinds, because they show different sides of humor. A good comedy does not only make us laugh. It also helps us feel close to other people, even when we watch alone. We understand the joke together with the characters, and that creates a small connection. Animated movies and shows bring another kind of joy. They often look bright and simple, yet their messages can be deep and kind. I like animated stories that talk about dreams, fears, and hope. Even when the characters are animals or imaginary creatures, their feelings feel real. Children and adults can enjoy these stories together, and that shared experience feels warm. Sometimes, I notice that animated films speak in very clear language, which makes them easy to follow and pleasant to listen to. This is one reason they are perfect for learning and relaxing. Action movies have their own charm too. They move fast and keep our eyes open. Even when the story is simple, the energy can be exciting. I do not watch action films every day, but when I do, I enjoy the strong music, the clear movements, and the brave characters. These stories often talk about protection, teamwork, and belief. Even in loud scenes, there is usually a quiet idea behind the noise. Romance stories are gentle and emotional. They talk about meeting, waiting, losing, and finding again. I like romance films that feel honest and calm. I do not need big drama. I prefer soft conversations, long looks, and small gestures. These details make love stories feel real. Television romance shows also give us time to understand each relationship. We see how people grow, make mistakes, and learn to care better. That slow change feels natural and touching. Mystery shows and movies invite us to think. They ask us to look closely, listen carefully, and connect small pieces. I enjoy mysteries that are not too dark, because they keep my mind active without making me tired. When I follow a gentle mystery, I feel like a quiet guest inside the story. I watch the characters search for answers, and I search with them. Even when I guess wrong, I enjoy the journey. The ending is not the only important part. The slow path toward it is just as valuable. Documentaries also belong to the world of movies and television. They show real people, real places, and real moments. I like documentaries that speak softly and clearly. They do not rush. They let us see and think. Through these films, I can travel to far countries, learn about animals, and understand different cultures. It feels like opening a window to the real world. Some documentaries are quiet and poetic, while others are simple and friendly. Both styles can teach us something new. I often feel thankful after watching a good documentary, because it reminds me that our world is wide and full of stories. Old movies and shows have a special feeling too. They move slowly, and their colors are softer. The voices sound different, and the style feels gentle. When I watch an old film, I feel like I am visiting another time. I see how people lived, talked, and dreamed. These stories help me understand history in a warm and human way. Even when the language is simple, the emotions feel strong. New movies and shows also bring fresh ideas. They talk about modern life, technology, and new kinds of relationships. I enjoy seeing how stories change with time. Yet, I also notice that some feelings stay the same. People still want love, peace, and understanding. They still fear loss and hope for happiness. This makes me feel close to people from every time and place. Watching movies and shows in another language can be a gentle learning experience. I listen to the voices, notice the rhythm, and slowly understand more. Even when I miss some words, I can still feel the meaning through tone and action. This kind of watching is calm and helpful. It does not push me. It guides me softly. I believe many learners feel the same way. They enjoy stories while improving their listening skills without stress. When I think about my favorite scenes, I often remember quiet moments more than loud ones. A person looking out of a window. A slow walk in the rain. A short smile between friends. These scenes stay in my heart. They remind me that stories do not need many words. Sometimes, silence speaks clearly. Television shows that focus on daily life also feel comforting. They show cooking, talking, cleaning, and resting. These simple actions feel close to our own lives. Watching them can be relaxing, because we recognize ourselves in these moments. We feel less alone. We understand that small lives also have value. Movies and shows can also inspire us. They can give us courage to try new things or think in new ways. Even a simple story about someone starting again can make us feel hopeful. I like stories that end softly, not too suddenly. A gentle ending allows me to leave the story slowly, with calm thoughts and warm feelings. Sound and music are important parts of movies and television. Soft music can change a scene completely. It can make us feel safe, sad, or peaceful. I enjoy soundtracks that do not speak too loudly. They stay in the background and support the story. Sometimes, I listen to these sounds again after the movie ends, and they bring back the same calm mood. The voices of actors also matter. Clear and gentle voices help us connect. When someone speaks naturally, we believe them more. We feel closer to their story. I prefer acting that feels honest, even when the story is simple. Good acting does not need big movements. It only needs true feeling. Many people watch movies and shows together with family or friends. This shared time creates memories. We laugh together, feel surprised together, and sometimes stay quiet together. These moments are valuable. Even after the screen turns dark, the feeling remains. We may talk about the story, or we may just sit peacefully. Both are good. Watching alone can also be nice. It gives us personal space to think and feel. There is no right or wrong way to enjoy stories. Some people watch one episode every day, while others watch many in one night. I think both ways can be fine if they bring comfort and balance. The most important thing is to enjoy the experience. When I choose a movie or show, I often think about how I feel inside. If I feel tired, I choose something soft. If I feel curious, I choose something new. If I feel lonely, I choose a story with warm voices. These small choices help me care for myself in a gentle way. Over time, I have learned that movies and television are not just about watching. They are about feeling, thinking, and connecting. They remind us that every life has a story, and every story has a place. Even simple stories can touch our hearts. And when the screen becomes still, I often remain quiet for a moment, because my mind is still walking inside the story. I think about the characters and their choices, and I feel thankful for the small journey I just shared with them. Sometimes, I imagine what happens after the ending. I imagine them waking up the next day, drinking coffee, or looking at the sky. These thoughts make the story feel alive even after it ends. Movies and television shows do not truly stop when the final scene fades. They continue softly inside us, like gentle echoes. I believe this is why people return to their favorite films again and again. They are not only watching the same images. They are also meeting their own memories and feelings from earlier times. When I watch an old favorite, I feel like greeting an old friend. I already know what will happen, yet I still enjoy the journey. The comfort comes from familiarity, from knowing the rhythm, the voices, and the gentle flow of events. New stories, on the other hand, bring curiosity. They invite us to listen, to observe, and to open our minds. I like to mix old and new stories in my life. This balance keeps my heart calm and my mind awake. Television shows often grow slowly, like quiet gardens. Each episode adds a small detail. Each season adds a deeper color. Over time, we understand the characters more clearly. We see their strengths and weaknesses. We accept them as they are. This long connection is something only television can offer. Movies, however, give us a complete story in a short time. They are like short journeys with clear beginnings and endings. Both forms have their own beauty. Some evenings, I want a full story in one sitting. Other evenings, I want to walk slowly with the same characters over many days. The choice depends on my mood and my energy. I notice that many modern shows and movies try to move very fast. They use quick scenes and loud sounds. Sometimes, this can be exciting. But I often prefer a slower pace. A slower story gives me time to breathe and understand. It allows my thoughts to follow the story without effort. It feels more natural, like listening to a calm friend. Slow stories are also easier to remember. They leave gentle marks in the mind. I enjoy stories that respect silence. Silence is not empty. Silence is full of meaning. A quiet moment can say more than many words. When a character looks away, or when music stops for a second, I feel the emotion more clearly. These quiet spaces help us connect with the story in a deeper way. They also help us relax. In our busy lives, we rarely find silence. Movies and shows can give it back to us in a kind and safe way. Another beautiful part of movies and TV shows is the setting. The places we see can feel like dreams or memories. A small village, a busy city, a wide beach, or a quiet forest can change the feeling of a story. I enjoy watching stories set in peaceful places. The background sounds, like birds, wind, or water, make me feel calm. Even when the story is simple, the place adds depth. Sometimes, I feel like I have traveled without moving. This gentle travel is one of the quiet gifts of visual stories. Clothing, colors, and light also shape our feelings. Soft colors make us feel warm. Dark colors make us feel serious. Bright colors make us feel alive. I like when movies use light carefully. Morning light feels hopeful. Evening light feels gentle. Night scenes feel quiet and deep. These details may seem small, but they help the story speak without words. They guide our emotions slowly and naturally. Many people talk about famous actors and directors. I respect their work, but I also believe every person in a story matters. Even a small role can touch us. A short smile, a kind voice, or a simple gesture can stay in our hearts. Stories are built from many small parts. When these parts work together softly, the result feels true. I enjoy noticing these small parts. It makes watching more peaceful and meaningful. Sometimes, movies and shows help us understand ourselves. We see our fears in one character and our hopes in another. We recognize our own mistakes and dreams. This reflection is gentle and safe. We are not alone with our feelings. We see that others feel the same. This understanding brings comfort. It reminds us, we say what touched us, what surprised us, what made us smile. These conversations are often warm and easy. Even people who are very different can connect through a story. This connection is simple and beautiful. It shows that stories can bring people together without effort. I also enjoy reading about movies and shows after watching them. I like learning about how they were made, where they were filmed, and why certain choices were made. This knowledge does not break the magic. It adds another layer. It shows me the care and thought behind the scenes. It reminds me that stories are created by people who also feel and dream. This understanding makes me respect the work even more. Sometimes, I notice that a story changes when I watch it again later in life. What felt exciting before may feel gentle now. What felt simple before may feel deep now. This change is not in the story. It is in me. I grow, and my way of seeing grows too. This is another reason I love movies and TV shows. They grow with us quietly. They meet us again and again in new ways. Children often enjoy stories for colors and sounds. Adults often enjoy stories for meaning and emotion. Yet both ways are true and valuable. A good story can speak to many ages at the same time. This wide reach is part of its beauty. It does not belong to only one group. It belongs to everyone who is willing to listen and feel. I believe that even simple stories can hold great kindness. They do not need to teach loudly. They only need to exist gently. When I think about all the stories I have watched, I feel grateful. Each one gave me a small piece of feeling, thought, or peace. Some made me laugh. Some made me quiet. Some made me think deeply. All of them added something to my inner world. Movies and television shows are like soft companions in our lives. They walk with us, sit with us, and sometimes hold our hand when we need comfort. They never ask us to rush. They only invite us to stay for a while and share a story. And in that sharing, we often find a little more calm, a little more understanding, and a little more warmth inside ourselves. Inside ourselves, and that warmth often stays even when we move on to other parts of life. Sometimes, I notice that a simple line from a movie comes back to me during the day. It appears quietly in my thoughts while I walk, work, or rest. It does not shout. It only reminds me of a feeling. This gentle return is one of the quiet gifts of storytelling. We do not always remember every scene, but we remember how the story made us feel. That feeling becomes part of us in a soft and natural way. I also enjoy noticing how different cultures tell their stories. Movies and TV shows from different countries often feel calm in different ways. Some focus on family. Some focus on nature. Some focus on friendship. The language may change, but the emotions often feel familiar. I like listening to different accents and rhythms. It reminds me that the world is wide, yet human hearts often beat in similar ways. This understanding brings a peaceful sense of connection. When I watch a story from another place, I do not feel like a stranger. I feel like a quiet guest who is welcomed gently. I listen, observe, and learn. I do not need to understand every word. The tone, the faces, and the movements guide me. This kind of watching feels slow and kind. It teaches patience and openness. It helps me enjoy the journey instead of rushing to understand everything. Sometimes, I watch stories with very little dialogue. In these stories, images speak more than words. A person sitting alone. A door slowly closing. A light turning off. These moments feel simple, yet they carry deep emotion. I enjoy these silent scenes because they allow me to think and feel in my own way. They do not tell me what to feel. They invite me to feel. Other times, I enjoy stories with gentle conversations. The voices are soft and clear. The words are simple and honest. These conversations feel like real life. They remind me of talks with friends, family, or even strangers. I feel close to the characters because they speak like people I might know. This closeness makes the story more real and warm. Children's shows also have a special place in the world of storytelling. They often speak in clear and kind language. They teach simple values like sharing, caring, and trying again. Even adults can enjoy these shows because their messages are pure and gentle. Sometimes, we need simple reminders. We need to hear that it is okay to make mistakes and that kindness is important. These quiet lessons stay with us. Some stories talk about growing up. They show how people change slowly. They show confusion, learning, and hope. I like these stories because they feel honest. Growing is not easy. It is full of small steps and quiet questions. Watching someone grow on screen helps us accept our own slow journey. We see that change does not need to be fast. It only needs to be true. Other stories talk about starting again. A new place. A new job. A new friendship. These stories give gentle courage. They show that even when something ends, something else can begin softly. I like watching these stories when I feel unsure. They remind me that life continues in kind and quiet ways. Music in these stories often guides our hearts. A soft piano sound. A slow guitar. A gentle melody. These sounds help us. I like shows that end their episodes softly. No sudden noise. No strong rush. Only a gentle closing. This kind of ending respects the viewer. It allows us to leave the story slowly and kindly. It feels like saying goodbye with a smile instead of a loud wave. Sometimes, I do not finish a story in one time. I stop and continue later. This pause is not a problem. It gives me time to think and feel. When I return, the story feels fresh again. It welcomes me back without asking questions. I also notice that some stories help me understand people I do not know. Different ages. Different lives. Different ways of thinking. These stories open my mind gently. They do not push me. They invite me. They help me see with softer eyes. Movies and TV shows can also help us practice listening. The clear voices, natural speed, and simple sentences guide our ears. We learn new words quietly. We learn new sounds calmly. This learning does not feel like study. It feels like enjoying a story. This is a gentle and kind way to grow. I think this is why stories have always been part of human life. Before screens, people told stories by fire, by candle, and by voice. Now we use screens, but the heart of storytelling is still the same. We want to share, to feel, and to understand. When I finish a good story, I often feel peaceful. Not excited. Not tired. Just calm. This calm feeling is rare and precious. It stays with me like a soft blanket around my thoughts. And as I move through my days, I carry many small stories inside me. They do not make noise. They do not demand attention. They simply stay, quietly, kindly, and warmly, reminding me that life, like a good movie or a gentle show, is made of small moments, soft changes, and quiet beauty that we can notice when we slow down and allow ourselves to listen. To listen, and when we allow ourselves to listen, we also allow ourselves to feel more deeply. This is something I have learned slowly from watching many stories over time. I used to focus only on what was happening. Now I also notice how it is happening. I notice the pauses, the looks, the small movements, and the gentle changes in voice. These details make the story feel alive. They turn simple scenes into meaningful moments. Sometimes, I think about how a story begins. The first sound. The first image. The first voice. These beginnings are like opening a door. We step into another world, but we carry our own feelings with us. A good beginning does not rush. It welcomes us softly. It gives us time to settle and feel safe. I enjoy stories that start calmly, with a slow introduction. They prepare my heart for what is coming. Endings are also important. A soft ending feels like a gentle goodbye. It does not. I also enjoy stories about learning. Learning a skill. Learning a language. Learning about oneself. These stories show patience and growth. They remind us that learning is not fast. It is slow and kind. When I watch such stories, I feel less afraid of making mistakes. I understand that mistakes are part of every journey. Sometimes, I notice that a story does not stay exactly the same when I remember it. My memory changes it gently. Some scenes become softer. Some become brighter. This change is natural. It shows that stories live inside us in their own quiet way. I like to think of stories as gentle rivers. We step into them, move with them, and then step out. But a little water always stays with us. It cools our thoughts and softens our hearts. Movies and TV shows can also help us feel less alone. When we see someone feeling what we feel, we understand that our emotions are shared. This shared feeling is comforting. Sometimes, a story makes me cry softly. These tears are not heavy. They are gentle. They clean the heart. They leave a calm feeling afterward. Sometimes, a story makes me smile quietly. Not a loud laugh, but a soft smile that stays for a while. Sometimes, a story makes me think deeply. I sit in silence after it ends. I do not rush to the next story. I let the feeling stay. I believe this slow way of watching is a kind way of living. It teaches us to be patient. It teaches us to notice. It teaches us to feel. We do not need to watch many stories quickly. We only need to watch one story slowly and with an open heart. In our busy world, this slow listening is a small gift we can give ourselves. And as I continue to watch, to listen, and to feel, I realize that movies and TV shows are not just entertainment. They are gentle companions. They walk beside us without noise. They share our quiet moments. They remind us that life, like a story, is not about rushing to the end, but about feeling each soft step along the way, with patience, warmth, and a calm heart that is always ready to listen again. Teep va ket. To listen again, and in that listening, we slowly learn how to stay with ourselves in a kinder way. I often think that the best stories do not try to teach us directly. They only show us small moments, and through those moments, we understand something quietly. This understanding does not arrive suddenly. It grows inside us like soft light in the early morning. Sometimes, I remember a story when I see something simple in real life. A person waiting at a bus stop. A couple walking slowly. A child looking at the sky. These moments feel familiar because I have seen them in stories before. The screen and real life gently touch each other in my mind. This connection makes daily life feel more meaningful. I also notice how my taste in stories changes with time. What I loved before may not feel the same now. What I did not understand before may feel clear now. This change is not a loss. It is growth. Stories walk with us as we change. They meet us at different points of our journey. Some nights, I choose not to watch anything. I only think about the stories I already know. I remember scenes, voices, and feelings. This remembering is also a kind of watching. The story continues inside me, without sound or image, only with memory and emotion. I believe that every person carries a small library of stories inside. These stories are not written on paper. They are written in feeling. They help us understand love, fear, hope, and peace. They help us understand ourselves. When people say that movies and TV shows are only for fun, I smile quietly. Fun is important, but there is also comfort, healing, and gentle learning inside stories. We may not notice it at first, but it slowly touches us. I like stories that do not try to be perfect. I like stories that feel human. A small mistake. A quiet pause. A simple truth. These things make a story real. As I grow older, I enjoy calm stories more and more. I do not need strong surprises. I only need honesty and warmth. A slow story with a soft heart is enough. I also enjoy stories that leave space. Space for thought. Space for feeling. Space for silence. These spaces are where we meet ourselves. Sometimes, after watching a gentle story, I feel lighter. Not because something big changed, but because something small felt right. This light feeling is precious. I think that stories are like gentle mirrors. They do not show us everything. They only show us enough to recognize ourselves. In this way, movies and TV shows become part of our inner life. They are not only outside on a screen. They are inside our thoughts, our memories, and our feelings. When I look back at all the stories I have watched, I do not remember them in order. I remember them in emotion. I remember the calm ones, the warm ones, the quiet ones. These are the stories that stayed. I also understand now that it is okay to forget some stories. Not every story needs to stay. Some stories only visit us for a moment. They bring a small feeling, then leave. That is also beautiful. We do not need to